Okay, today we're playing a game on Oasis. We are in the Platinum SR range, and we will be playing Toes the entire way through. We are also on the console today, so consider yourself forewarned. And we are actually going to answer the questions from the email before we start the game today, because they are the kind of questions that make more sense to answer before you play the hero, rather than after you play the hero. So first up, I've never played the hero before this game. Could I get a quick rundown of who he is, his playstyle, and his synergies, please? If I could get some details on his abilities and how I should use them, that would be great as well. So, Sigma is more or less the middle point of Orisa and Reinhardt. His playstyle is probably closer to Orisa's than it is to Reinhardt, but he's more aggressive than Orisa, not as aggressive as Reinhardt, basically. And synergy-wise, he works really well with Orisa. Generally, you're trying to do something pretty similar to Orisa, like it's the same kind of playstyle. He's bunker-esque, but you're able to move forward more aggressively than she is, because your shield's not cooldown gated. It's more healthy than Orisa's is, but smaller, unfortunately. And then he's got the Vortex, the Rock, and a way more aggressive ultimate, so he's able to march at the enemy team a lot better than Orisa can, but not as well as Reinhardt can. So, generally, you're kind of playing Orisa-esque, where you'll sit in front of your teammates and then just sort of slowly leapfrog your shield forwards, just like throwing in your left click to try and get some extra damage in, and Sigma ends up doing a fair chunk of damage, actually. So yeah, playstyle is basically Orisa-esque, but more aggressive than she is, a much more aggressive version of the bunker. And he synergizes really well with Orisa, because that's just a lot of shields. Toes has got really good shield uptime, and Orisa's got really good shield uptime as well, so between the two of them, it's like facing a solid fucking diamond wall at times. It's very obnoxious. And as far as using his abilities go, the Vortex is never really gonna save you in a bad situation, because it's like really, beams aren't stopped, and there's a lot of beam heroes around there right now. Its hitbox isn't as good as Defense Matrix is, and he doesn't get the shield from the damage he's absorbed until the end of the channel, so if anything happens to interrupt you while you're doing it, you don't get the shield. So it's really unlikely to save you in a lot of circumstances, so it's something that's better used aggressively, where, like, you're using it to cover yourself and your team, because you can body block for your team while you've got it going. So while you're walking forward, you can just walk forward with your shield up, absorb any damage you can, get some personal shields, that's nice. And if you need to take your shield down, which you will inevitably at some point, then you can walk forward, hold the Vortex, and then just body block for your team for a little while they're moving into cover, hopefully. And while your shield's regenerating. And the Rock you can either, like, use aggressively and just lob it at the enemy team for some extra long-range damage and crowd control, or you can try and use it, save it, like, reactionary for people that are moving in on you to, like, hit flankers and things like that. But the thing is, with Accretion, is that it's a real bad crowd controlled ability. Like, it's not a very long stun, and it's very hard to hit because it's got a long wind-up, is a slow projectile, and its hitbox isn't as big as it looks like it is. So it's not the kind of thing that's great used defensively and reactionarily, unless you're chucking it at somebody who is relatively immobile, or you make, like, a hard read on the guy. So it's usually better used aggressively, just like lobbing it in, because if you can lob it in at somebody, you catch them, and then you hit them with your left click as well, that person basically dies if they're a 200 health hero. So it's decent for, like, setting up picks. It's not very good as, like, a defensive ability due to its wind-up. And his shield, it's almost exactly like a cross between playing Reinhardt and Orisa as far as the shield goes, because you want to position the shield similarly to how Orisa would, but it has the mindset of using Reinhardt's shield, because it isn't cooldown gated, and it only regenerates while it's taken down. So you're placing it in similar places that Orisa would, but you have to be actively monitoring its health and taking it down when it gets low to let it regenerate, and you don't want to ever let it break, just like Reinhardt, because once it's broken, it goes on a 5-second cooldown where you can't access it at all, which is a situation you never want to end up being in. So his shield is exactly as if you just combined Orisa and Reinhardt shields, basically, so if you've got any experience playing Reinhardt or Orisa, Sigma's playstyle is pretty easy to just intuit, because it's basically right between those two. So, there you go. Next question is, synergies. Orisa's really good, and a lot of people think Zarya's really good with Toes as well. I haven't really been particularly fond of that one. Maybe I'm bad, and I've played with bad Zaryas, who knows, but I'm not a huge fan of that one, but a lot of people seem to dig it. I quite like playing him with people like Hammond and Diva, because his ultimate synergizes quite well with them, because it's a pretty good combo ultimate. It's not very good independently, and it synergizes well with Self-Destruct and Minefield, because it gives both of those people time to, like, react and chuck their ultimate in, and usually get, like, picks off of it. So I like playing him with them. Also, anybody that can help, like... Sigma's got a similar problem to Orisa, where he's not very good at people when people are, like, diving on top of him. So another tank that helps make a lot of space is basically very helpful. So pretty much he works well with, like, Orisa, another main tank, and Hammond, another main tank, I find. So those are, like, the main synergies. That I don't think there's really anybody he's terrible with, but, like, Orisa is, like, the big one, as far as synergies with Sigma goes. So next up is, when should I use his ult, especially since I am very vulnerable when using it? Pretty much as a combo ultimate. I find it very hard to use it to get any kills by itself, just because it's very easy to counter it. Lucio, this upsets me a lot. Lucio can use Sound Barrier while he's still in the air from being lifted by Gravitic Flux, so he's just, like, 10 feet in the air and just Sound Barriers up there. It's very upsetting and very annoying to me. Anybody that's got any kind of, like, personal safety ability is going to get out scot-free. Moira can just fade out of it. May can use Ice Block. Reaper can Wraith Form out. Orisa can use Fortify, you know. Any kind of defensive thing is going to fuck it up. Like, the Lamp is going to fuck it up. Transcendence is going to fuck it up. Sound Barrier is going to fuck it up. So it's really not very good at, like, getting kills by itself. But it is very good as, like, a synergy with other ultimates, particularly ones that are, like, line of sight dependent, so Self-Destruct and Deadeye, because it can lift people out of cover and from behind shields. So it makes it very easy to set up kills with those kinds of abilities. And it's okay as, like, an engage ultimate, because it is a crowd control effect. And if people have to blow cooldowns to avoid dying to Gravitic Flux, then that is a victory in and of itself in a lot of circumstances, as long as your team is able to capitalize on it. So it's decent to use as an engage, but you are quite vulnerable while you're doing it, so you've got to, like, pick your time to do it, pretty much. And it's good as, like, a combo ultimate. It's not very good, like, by itself. It's best used with other ultimates, basically, just because of how easily it can be countered by, like, one or two abilities, and, like, a lot of heroes can just, like, get themselves out of it without any assistance, so it ends up being very easily countered, so it's best used as a combo. And then 3, which tank does he most closely resemble? I feel like I know which tank he's most like, but it might give me a better grasp on the hero. Pretty much already answered that question in part 1, being that I think he is definitely closer to Orisa than he is to Reinhardt, but he's pretty much in between the two of them. Do you have anything else to say about his playstyle, really? Not really. Basically, like, Orisa, but you can move forward a lot more, is basically how I would describe his playstyle. He's trying to do very similar things. You can do Junkrat-esque stuff because of the splash and physics on his left click, so you can do a lot of, like, spamming into corners, spamming, like, around shields, getting people with the splash, and if people group up all together, oh, it's like Christmas morning. Sigma ends up putting out, like, a fair chunk of damage. Like, I end up with the gold damage medal on Sigma pretty frequently, even with, like, high damage teammates. He ends up putting out a lot of damage over, like, a long period of time. And if you flux, like, the whole team, it's gonna, like, that's gonna pad your stat out pretty good. And he does, like, a lot of burst damage. If you can hit someone with the rock and then the 2 left clicks, then that's great. So he's the kind of hero where you can be looking to try and, like, make picks with him, despite him being a tank, which is relatively rare. If somebody goes out in the open, you can put, like, a lot of damage into him. It's just that his left click has a very unusual kind of trajectory or feel to it, I suppose. So it takes some getting used to, but once you get used to it, he puts out some pretty beefy damage. Not very good at breaking barriers, though, sadly. But hey, you can't have it all. You can't have it all. So, yeah, that's about all I got to say about that. So let's start the game. So we are on City Center first. I've never internalized the name of this map for some reason. I don't know. I think it's City Center. So there's no sound coming out of my headphones. Whatever. It's fine. It's whatever. Don't need to hear the game. There's subtitles. Look at that. So we just let our shield break, which is not good, as we established earlier. We're basically playing Reinhardt right now. We don't want to ever let our shield break. And this might just be me being bad, but I feel like there's a kind of weird delay to taking it down ever so slightly, because I've tried to be, like, greedy with it and get down to a couple hundred, but it almost always ends up breaking in that situation. But that could just be me being bad at the same time. So, you know, take it for what it's worth. So, Reaper's coming up behind us. Dude, Reaper players love to just keep shooting the Vortex and let you take a lot, like, give you a huge bump of shields. There are some heroes that way, that are like, they just love to keep shooting into you, dude. Junkrat's the other one, where Junkrat players have no concept of letting go of left click, so you almost always end up getting some pretty beefy damage out of them. So, similar to Reinhardt, we don't want to put our shield, like, too far up, like, right there is not a very good spot for it, because it's too easy to be just shooting it for free without any recompense from our team, because they can be standing, like, way out of our team's line of sight and still have line of sight to the barrier, so we don't get to return fire on them. So, putting it all the way up there, not so good. That's the kind of thing Orisa is less afraid to do. But we have to worry about shield management, so we don't ever want to put it in a place where they can just be breaking it for free, basically. Our team is starting to move out of the gate at this point to go and fight the bad men, so fair enough, we're going to go up and fight with them. We just got fluxed by the enemy team, and not a whole lot came out of it, so there you go. That's quite frequently how Gravitic Flux goes. So what's going on right now? What are we doing with our shield? Are we trying to move the shield further out? Oh no, I've had that happen before. The arm bugs out and just is constantly out rigid like that. Just unmoving. Because if you look, it just stops animating as well. That's very nice. Especially because there's enough downtime between his left clicks if you're holding it down, that it's got time for the arm to just appear again in one frame and remained bugged. That's very fun. So we just let our shield break again. Don't want to do that. What do we do with our rock? Do we just, like, chuck it in? Yeah, more or less we were just going to chuck it in that there. I mean, you know, it's kind of fine to just, like, chuck it in the doorway as you think they're about to come through it, because it's not, like, great used reactionarily. So if you can, like, read someone coming through the door, it usually ends up working out pretty good. So there's a lot of gravity happening right there, because we used Gravitic Flux and Zarya used Graviton as well. So they're being pushed and pulled in all kinds of directions. So they're having a lot of trouble getting through the gate right now. So this is great for us, right? I don't think they have time to get back back here anymore unless they've got someone hiding behind us. Someone indeed was hiding behind us. Look at that. I don't know who it is. Now more people are arriving at this point. Oh, got pinned by Reinhardt. Oh no, I did see him over there. I can't hear him, though, because for some reason there's no sound coming out of anything right now, so that's nice. Do I just have everything, like, muted? Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay. I was sitting here trying to turn the volume up, but that doesn't work if you've muted it, so good job, me. Technology's very fucked up, okay? Leave me alone. So, now let me back up a little bit. Just try and hear the fight. We were trying to block the Death Blossom. Reaper started ulting right there, so fair enough, I suppose. Life is hard. We did see the Reinhardt over there, and Reinhardt players do so love to push the shift key, so we have to be aware of where the Reinhardt is most of the time, because you never know what they're gonna get up to. I'd know. So we're going to lose control of the checkpoint, whatever. We got 99%, we got all the time in the world to try and take it back again. They used a couple of ultimates to do that as well, so it's okay. So we've our shield's really low right now. There wasn't too much point to having it up right there because we weren't ever really going to do too much. We were still waiting for our teammates to regroup, so putting it up could end up just taking a bunch of damage for no reason, basically. And, you know, we gotta think like Reinhardt in terms of using our shield. But, so it's getting low, it's getting low. Okay, we took it down. Good, good, good. I don't know what we just used oh, no, we put it back up again. Try to avoid putting it back up again when it's really low health, because again, we don't want to ever let it break, so if we put it up with like 200 health, it's only really got like 100 health, because we don't want to let it break still. And I know, you know, it's the same as playing Reinhardt, where you feel this obligation, like, I've got to put my shield up, my team is waiting for my shield here. But you have to resist the temptation to just put it up, because if you're putting your shield up when it's really low health, it's not accomplishing anything. We've let our shield break a bunch of times. As well, it just broke again. And we're marching in right now. The shield's actually not going to really do much right now, in terms of having it up, because we're only fighting Reinhardt right here. He could have self-destruct, holy shit. Sometimes Reinhardt's use Earth Shatter like it's self-destruct, to be fair. It's just, you know... it's like an inward self-destruct. It doesn't do anything to anybody except the Reinhardt. So we're holding our vortex at these bad men right now. There's a Bridget and a Sigma in there, so there's not a lot of point to doing that. We could have just been shooting into them instead. And, did our shield break, or did we take it down that time? We took it down? Okay, great. And we've almost got Gravitic Flux built up again. We're really close to capturing the checkpoint now. Well, there goes Doomfist. So, oh, yep, there we go. If Doomfist starts using Meteor Strike, as Sigma, you kind of want to like try and figure out where he's gonna go with it. Oh, he's upset. Pushed him back, and then he has Earth Shatter as well. He used it over there as well. You want to try and read where he's gonna go with the Meteor Strike, because you can, which is usually gonna be whichever is your most immobile support. And if you just send the shield over to them, they can use that to hopefully block the Meteor Strike. Which, you know, you probably know, but I'll say it all the same anyway, because I haven't had much to say so far, to be honest, other than don't put the shield up when it's really low health. They've got a Junkrat as well, which is really unfortunate for us, because Sigma's shield isn't that healthy, you know, like 1500 health. It's not gonna stand up to, like, most barrier-breaking heroes by itself, really. Which is, you know, there's an Orisa there, it's a great time. So there's a Pharah floating around us right now. I'm going back to see why we used our cooldowns, because I didn't notice, and now having the shift would be really helpful. Sigma is pretty good against Pharah, because of the, we use it in, like, gut reaction to getting shot at by Pharah, which is fair enough, I suppose. He's got a splash weapon, so you don't even need to get a direct hit on the Pharah, and if you do get a direct hit, she takes a lot of damage. So Sigma ends up being surprisingly good against Pharah. The Pharah can, of course, outplay you just by never really getting in range, but he's better than you'd think he'd be versus a Pharah. So we're kind of getting bullied by these two right now, but it's only Junkrat and Pharah, so it's not the end of the world. Took us a little bit of time to find the Pharah again. She was there, but we missed her. I don't like doing that. We just said, why did I do that? I don't like doing that kind of thing where you just walk through the shield to try and get some damage in on the Vortex, because it drains too fast to really amount to very much most of the time. If you can read that, like, a fight's about to happen and, like, get a little bit of a shield ahead of time, then that's cool and all, but it's very hard to make that happen. It's very unfortunate that Sigma doesn't end up getting the shields until the end of the channel, so it ends up making it, like, not as good for survival as you'd think it would be, but sometimes you're fighting somebody that, like, really can't do anything to circumnavigate it, like a Reaper or a Junkrat, and they often end up giving you a lot of free stuff, so that's nice. We are most of the way to having Gravitic Flux built up right now. We're having a little bit of trouble with the Pharah kind of bullying us around a little bit. Oh god. Okay, that's fine. Also, tragically, you know... Oh my god, Junkrat. Oh, Jesus Christ. like, everybody's looking at you, dude. Like, everybody, the whole world knows you're here right now, and you're gonna try it, and you're looking right at a Bridget, and a McCree, and a Sigma, right in front of you. All of these people can just stun you while you're doing that. To speak nothing of, like, the burst damage that they're gonna do to you. Oh my god, it's just, well, everyone's already looking at him as well. God damn. Like, maybe if he took us by surprise, but Jesus Christ. I forgot what I was talking about before that. It was a very unfortunate shield angle right there. Yeah. So, we didn't get caught in that. Most people ended up just managing to get away from it. But now, the enemy team are starting to come in with their other ultimates, and things are falling apart now. We've got Gravitic Flux, but half our team is dead, so we don't want to use it. We just wanted to give Zen the business before we die, because at least then Zen will be upset, if nothing else. So we do have Gravitic Flux. Nobody else has any ultimates right now. Is anybody close? Because I didn't actually process those numbers as they came by. Doomfist's fairly close. It's an okay synergy with Doomfist. The timing will end up being a little weird for him, but, like, it's okay. Graviton is miles away, so we haven't got that one coming up anytime soon. Our Doomfist just went and got himself killed, so that's nice. Tried to throw the rocket far right there, but she already died, so that's nice. So we're going to use Gravitic Flux to engage right now. Moira didn't have Fade up, so that's very nice, but unfortunately, Lucio has Sound Barrier. He could have used it sooner than that, but maybe he didn't know, because he waited until he landed to actually do that. So, the thing is with what we've done right now, is we have just skirted right past the front line to do this as well. Orissa's right behind us. And Sigma is really bad at, like, getting himself out of this kind of situation once he's in. So it's a very aggressive maneuver to go for. We need, like, more assurance we're actually going to get kills off of that, and Gravitic Flux by itself is very bad assurance. I wish it was a better ultimate. It seems like it should be a lot better than it is. I would describe it as one of those, like, 5 out of 10 ultimates, you know? Where I think Sigma is definitely, like, a lot better than his ultimate is. Which, you know, there's heroes that have been like that before, so it's nothing too shocking. So we're letting our shield break right here. We can take the shield down while we're using the shift. We can't put it up or anything, but we can take it down while we're doing that. And using the rock at the same time. So that's nice at least. But tragically, Sigma does everything with his left hand, so you don't get to overlap many abilities. But if you use the Vortex and realize that you fucked up using the Vortex, you can cancel it with the rock. So that's very nice, but you can't, like, cancel the rock with anything. Once you push the rock, you are committed to using the rock. I went back, like, a couple times here to try and figure out why we went this way, and then just forgot to notice, really. We've come over here because Soldier's over here using Tac Visor. And then we got punched in the face by Doomfist, and things went pretty badly from that point onwards right there. Doomfist is using Meteor Strike right now, so we should have moved the shield so we can try and use it a little bit more easily to block that. Or be, like, playing around the corner in the little room in the middle there, because you can always play around a corner to try and counter Gravitic Flux as well. A Gravitic Flux, Meteor Strike. You can play around a corner to counter Gravitic Flux as well, to be fair. But I was thinking of Meteor Strike. So we're having a lot of trouble getting in now. We're miles away from having our ultimate, and we've just got to go in to touch it, which is a difficult life. We can start trying to barrier dance, but now we're lifted into the sky, so there will be no barrier dancing for us for the near future. That is a nice thing about Sigma when it comes down to, like, dueling somebody. He's, like, pretty good dueling most people, because you can just put the barrier down right next to you and start shield dancing with it. And because he's got the Vortex, the Rock, and, like, pretty good burst damage, like, really good burst damage, actually. He ends up being pretty good at dueling most people, as long as you dance around the barrier. Like, I've had Zaryas come at me with full charge, and they're the ones that have died, because they were not good at barrier dancing. But once he's getting dove on, he tends to start struggling. Oh, we changed to Diva? No, okay, I was like, I don't remember changing to Diva. So I was scared. Every time watching a video and we briefly consider changing. I don't remember changing that hero, and I worry that I've inadvertently become a fraud. Everybody already knows I'm a fraud, so it's no big deal, I suppose. That was a lot. I was just listening to what we were saying right there. We're not very happy with our DPS right now, basically. To be fair, it does feel like the DPS have been fairly low impact, except for that one game that one round rather, where we steamrolled. So you know, but I mean, at the same time, their DPS was that Junkrat, so. You know, it goes both ways, right? It goes both ways. So we're getting bounced, like, all over the fucking place right now. What happened to Doomfist here? Oh, he punched our Lucio. I was like, why did he just stop in front of us? He doesn't stop on barriers. Oh, it's because of this. So, by the way, I want to complain right now about how people react to, heroes, right? Because when Bridget could go through the shield to hit somebody, everybody got really fucking upset about that and cried a lot. And eventually they went, alright, Bridget's shield bash doesn't go through shields anymore. Why are we just okay with Doomfist? Why are we just okay with that one, but we weren't okay with Bridget? You know? Yeah, just curious. You know me, I love consistency in my mechanics. Why is Bridget the only one with, like, a melee attack that gets stopped by a shield? Reinhardt can charge through a shield. Why are we okay with that? Surely we should be consistent about this and go, if she can't go through it, he can't go through it. And you might say, well, she's colliding with it with a shield, so it's because the two shields are, like, bonking off of each other. Well then, why can Sigma and Orisa throw their shields through other people's shields? Why can Reinhardt just, like, fully shove his shield through another shield, huh? We gotta get some consistency in here, god damn it. It makes me mad, the lack of consistency with these mechanics, because I complain about the self-damage with explosions all of the time. Do you know what I'm also gonna complain about right now? Sigma's Vortex. Because do you know what it basically is? It's basically Defense Matrix with a worse hitbox, and it gives you some personal shields at the end of it all, right? As well as not being resource-based. Cool. Do you know what the main difference between it and Defense Matrix is, though? Sigma's Vortex can stop Roadhog's hook. Why? Why can it do this? Why can it stop Roadhog's hook? Defense Matrix doesn't stop it. Surely it's basically the same thing. Why can't Diva shoot the hook out of the air if Sigma can just stop it with gravity or whatever the fuck he's doing, right? You know, there's a few inconsistencies around here. And while we're on the subject, Reinhardt, cyborg paladin man, high-tech battle armor, cutting-edge technology, 500 health, some of which is armor. Roadhog is fat, 600 health. Explain all of these inconsistencies to me. Why? Why can Farah, in her fucking cutting-edge battle tech jetpack armor, kill herself with her own explosions? Meanwhile, Junkrat is dirty and has shorts on, but he is completely immune to his 600 damage explosion detonating on his head. Explain! I'm very mad about all of these things. Anyway, so, we are standing very far forward right now. This is very scary for us to do because they've had some pretty aggressive heroes previously. Right? We were getting bullied around by a Doomfist previously as well, so going that far forward is a little scary. Not Doomfist. Toes' left click has like a pretty decent range to it. I think it's 20 meters. So you can space it out pretty far away, and, you know, it's one of those situations where Toes doesn't really like people being right next to him for the most part, so moving closer to people, oh god, excuse me, being closer to people doesn't give you much benefit, other than them just being easier to hit. And ideally we just get better at hitting them from further away. So we, spacing, we want to like space it out a little bit more. We aren't quite Orisa range as a hero, we're a little bit shorter than that at like 20 meters, but you know, we do still want to be spacing it out. We're immobile and soft as far as tanks go, so space it. We want to space things out a little bit more. At this point, we're starting to, like, press in aggressively on them, so that's fair enough. Us being over here doing this is, like, tremendously not helpful because we're only putting our shield up for ourselves right now. We want to be over in the middle so that we can actually put the shield in front of our teammates right now, because literally we were just blocking for ourselves, which is not very not very good as for a team effort. So we're trying to get the Lucio right now. Yeah, There we go. I've been there before, I know. The worst part is when you, like, throw the rock at someone, it puts a lot of physics on them afterwards as well, so... The hardest part with, like, hitting them with a creation and then, like, finishing them off with the left click is just that you have to account for which way they're gonna fucking bounce after you clock them with the rock. Which, to be fair, makes a lot of sense, right? Like, if I hit somebody with a fucking boulder, I would expect them to bounce around a little bit. So, you know, that's, like, the hardest part of doing that one. Oh, we got booped into it. Oh, that's brutal. Yeah, Lucio came in and just pushed us right into the dragon. Oof, brutal. Ooh. Oh, God mercy. She didn't do it. She tried to res us. She didn't pull it off. Which, honestly, I'm glad. I would have been upset if she got away with that one, to be honest with you. So we've almost got Gravitic Flux. Our teams are doing okay in our absence. I believe we were the only one that actually died miraculously. Oh, here we go. Yeah, there we go. Our Diva, unfortunately, just used self-destruct, so now we don't get to combo that with Gravitic Flux, which we were very close to having, so that's unfortunate. And at this point, things are, like, really falling apart. We shouldn't be going into fight anymore. Like, 2 of our team already died. Soldier just died as well, so at this point we should just be backing out, because we're just gonna end up dying coming in to do this. We're already at 99, so there's, like, definitely no point to us trying to contest the point. Bright side, Moira ended up using Coalescence. She didn't need to, but she did, so that's nice. I think Mercy's just used Valkyrie, though, which she shouldn't have done. Yeah, she did, so that's upsetting. We're not very close to having very many ultimates right now. We're close to having Tac Visor, but, you know, not the greatest. It does work. That does also work pretty well with Gravitic Flux, because we can lift people out of cover. That's, like, the biggest benefit of Gravitic Flux in a lot of circumstances. If they're behind cover, that's not just, like, a straight-up wall, right? You can lift them over it. You can lift them over barriers. So it makes them vulnerable to a lot more ultimates than they normally would be. So we're just gonna try and use Gravitic Flux right now. Oh, we were trying to fucking lift the roof for a second there. We managed to get the Lucio and the enemy toes. Now, fortunately, we knew that Lucio used Sound Barrier in the last fight, so there was no risk of it getting countered right there. And if you know the enemy team don't have their defensive cooldowns, Gravitic Flux does get a lot scarier. Like, if you see Moira fade, oh, there's nothing greater than when Moira fades and you're using Gravitic Flux, so you just, like, snatch her right up after she fades. Oh, that's the absolute greatest. Because then she's just has time to sit there in the gravity well and fully appreciate the mistakes she made in life that led her to this destination. And then they die, hopefully, which is also always very nice. I wasn't looking if we were doing it. I think we were, because the idea with the Gravitic Flux is that we try to drop somebody, like when they're lifted up, we try to drop them down below half health so they die from the slam. I think we were doing that, but I didn't actually pay attention when we lifted them because I'm not very good at this. I have a tendency for my mind to just wander, because I'm usually getting angry about things like how Sphara can kill herself with their own explosions, but Junkrat can't. You know. I wouldn't be so mad if Junkrat wasn't the only one. If he wasn't the only fucking one. And I get it, it makes it easier to play that guy. But, like, I hate when the rules aren't consistent, god damn it. It makes me so mad when there's inconsistencies. Oh, God. And every time it just gets a little... every hero that appears, it gets a little bit worse. It gets a little bit less consistent. Because, like, here's another thing. The rock, Accretion, can't be deflected, you can't eat it with the vortex, you can't defense matrix it. Why? Why can't you do that? Because it's too big, I guess? Like, why can't we do that? Because it's a stun? It would be annoying if it could get blocked by those things, I guess? I guess you could argue it's just too big to get eaten by, like, defense matrix or something, and, like... obviously, a sword can't deflect a giant fucking boulder, can you? But, simultaneously, Defense Matrix can eat a fucking black hole, and Genji can bounce a black hole back at you. So why can't he bounce a fucking rock back at you? God damn it. Moreover, he can deflect Reinhardt's hammer, which is a fucking rocket-propelled hammer. So, god damn, it makes me mad. Jesus Christ. If I ever get the opportunity to speak to Daddy Jeff, I'm just gonna ask him why. I'm just gonna look him right in the eye, and I'm gonna ask why. And he's gonna know on an intuitive level what I'm asking. He's just gonna understand by the look in my eye that I want to know why Bridget gets stopped on a shield, but Reinhardt and Doomfist don't. I'm so mad. I don't know what's happening anymore. I got really mad and kind of stopped paying attention to the fight. We got punched by fucking Doomfist right there. I can confirm that much. We did just, like, chuck the rock at him immediately. It is better if we can save the rock to try and block the, Oh my god, she lived! Oh my god, I'm a little mad, right? Like, look at that fucking Mercy. And she lives. That's the worst part. It is better to save the rock to try and counter the punch, but at that point we were probably just more concerned with self-preservation. But it is a little better to try and save it to counter the punch, because then, you know, we've stopped his main movement ability. Built Gravitic Flux, might as well slam him right there. Again, they don't have their defensive abilities ready, so we just get him. Their Sigma's coming back, but he doesn't get to touch it in time. Alright, great, we got him. We got him. All good. Oh, gee, I'm so mad. Jesus Christ. The thing that stood out the most that game... Oh, we got it. I guess it was probably for the slam right at the end. Oh, no, it was for this one. Oh, yeah, we got, like, 3 kills off this, didn't we? Yeah, because then we come in and finish this guy off. Fair enough. So the thing that stood out the most was basically shield management, where we were just putting it out there. We let it break a bunch of times. We did block a lot of damage, so that's nice, but... honestly, whenever I get the damage blocked thing, I'm always low-key a little upset about it, to be honest with you. Because, like, you know, the thing that you get told really early on with most tanks is that you're trying to block as much damage as possible, right? Like, you have the opinion early on when you're playing Reinhardt that the goal is to have your shield up as much as possible. What you learn as time goes by is the goal is actually to have your shield up as little as possible. So I'm always actually slightly upset when I get the damage blocked card, but at the same time, seeing the big damage blocked number is very satisfying, right? Especially, like, not a particularly long game. 30 damage blocked is a lot of damage blocked. Oh, good job, fucking Bridget. 85% kill participation. That's a lot. But 68. If only she got one more. Tragically, she's failed us. Lucio did a lot of healing for Lucio as well, but I mean, I guess he was in these fights for a really long time. Anyway, so yeah, shield management was the big thing. We were just letting it out there. We let it break a bunch of times. We were putting it up when it was really low health, which we don't want to do either. We want to have the exact same mindset we would have as Reinhardt, basically, in terms of how we're using it. As it's always easier if you're playing with an Orisa, because then you can pretty much let Orisa do the majority of the blocking, and then you put your shield up when hers is breaking, and so she can wait for the cooldown, then you take it back down again. Or you can use it to cover other areas if people start moving around the shield after she's broken it down. It's Sigma gets a lot of benefit out of playing with an Orisa. It just makes everything easier for him. So shield management was the biggest thing in there. Outside of, like, aim better, but I mean, if this is the first game we've played, like, Sigma, the very first game I played as Sigma, I was like, oh god, his fucking left click is awful, Jesus Christ. But then, like, 5 games later, I ended up getting, like, 40 damage done. That's what I'm saying, right? It was, like, 20k damage done, and I was like, alright, maybe it's okay, actually. Maybe it's alright. Maybe it just, you know, there's a learning period in here. But shield management was the big thing, so... yeah, that's all I got for you. God, I'm still mad just thinking about it. Jesus Christ, why? Why can Junkrat take 600 damage like it's nothing? I'm so mad about it. It's... every week I get a little bit madder about it, to be honest with you. Anyway, I just want to know, like, why? I know why, but I just want to know why. So anyway, thank you very much for watching if you did. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer. If you felt I answered any of your questions from the email inadequately, please let me know and I will try to expand further. If you haven't already, you can join our Discord and ask questions more directly and have a conversation about them, or just shitpost with us. I've started streaming on Twitch Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 8 PM EST till midnight EST. There's a link to the channel in the description. And if you managed to make it all the way through the video and somehow still enjoyed it, please like the video and subscribe for more content of middling quality in the future. And I hope you found the video helpful.